All right, party people, how's it going, everyone? Hope y'all are doing good on this wonderful day. Hold on a sec. Let's wait for this to get. Let's wait for this to cooperate, because this doesn't want to cooperate at the moment. Hold on. There, come on. Hello. There we go. Haha! I'm here! Finally, a return to form. How's it going, everyone? I feel so bad about Sunday. I woke up at a really bad time. I got so lethargic out of nowhere. It really made the Stardew one a little bit more like, kind of a little more snoozier. Sometimes a snoozy stream is fine, but I really like to be entertaining, so I get a little hard on myself about it. So I think the good thing is that now I'm here and now I'm dealing with something with a little more interactivity. Something that demands a lot from me. So I'm going to be actually getting started very quickly. I wanted to be able to do more of like a longer monologue around Sunday because I wanted to get started with the Ace Attorney Chronicles. I want to be able to walk through it and be able to kind of go through at least sort of like the summary of chapter 2 before I get a little further into it. I've been really waiting and clamoring to be able to get in on this one, so it's going to be a very awesome time. There we go. Kappa Kapum. Alright. Checking for DLC. Man. Get unlock that loot outfit for Ryunosuke and Kazuya. Kazuma. No, Uncle Cosmo. Uncle Kaz. Alright. Let me... There always a circle. All right, so we're gonna be going into a little briefer for we are in chapter 2. At the moment, what we are dealing with is the very sad and unfortunate reality that Kazuma Asogi is no longer with us at the moment. As it turns out, like somebody allegedly like kind of gave him a good shanking in this cabin while I was hanging out inside of a cabinet. So pretty much I'm accused once again I have been accused of things I have not done, which is murder my closest confidant and alleged partner, as the history books might suggest, about Phoenix Wright's great-great-grandfather. You know, like sometimes you have those little hidden sort of things. Like, I know what's it called? There is like a hidden dude in JFK's like youth that people talk about sometimes. This is just the hidden dude in Phoenix Wright's grandpa's youth. And then this is your old assistant and Kazuma's assistant. She definitely thinks that you did it. Just a friend who lived together but never married, yeah. That's definitely the old like 1900s like, okay, like we gotta like do this thing where we gotta sanitize this person's past, but at the same time you kinda can tell and read between the lines. There was something there. But we were supposed to go on this world tour. We spent many nights together, but one night somebody ended up like trapping me inside of the thing, the cabinet, and did the stabbing, and then left. And the only evidence I have is this little post-it note that says keep out, that I end up reapplying every time like me and Ryunosuke and Kazuma finish doing the do. So, at the moment, we have a friend here who is very invasive. This is Sherlock Holmes. They'll say he's Herlock Sholmes, but I know a detective when I see one. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you a while. Ah! What exactly were you doing in Kazuma's desk just now? I'm gonna scooch myself over. I don't want to block any text. Oh, no. You're all good, it's me. It's a me issue. It's not you, it's me. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Man, he's got those X-ray goggles on. He's trying to see me in my most compromised. Oh yes, everything is clear now. You're packing quite a big one, sir. You must have killed Kazuma quite well with that one. A train of reason has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in the most troubling predicament. Oh, well that's true at least. Not the Afghanistan part. Damn. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really the most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the Bariban's occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking out of your ass, aren't you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name. I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. You were with me this entire time. You would know if I was an agent for Russia who's been to Afghanistan. You would know if I was Killmonger and putting like tattoos of every single person I killed on my body until I finally got to my old cousin. You would know this, Susato. You were in court with me. No, listen. There's no way. Ah! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. It appears in my fit of passion, I moved this screen. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, you moron. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were saying the first thing that came in your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign crimes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Aha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England. and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call that a deduction. It's more just observation. Indeed. And observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observations of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over, star of Star Trek Into the Darkness, the inimitable Benedict Cumberbatch. So it's really you? The actual English cucumber man? The very same. The imitable, actual Benedict Cumberman. You know this man, Susato-san? I have been on Tumblr since 2012. I know damn well who he is. What planet am I living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. We will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? I guess I'll talk to you. Great, what were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining his desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh yes, the victim. Did you notice anything? Observe, for a moment, the desktop of the victim. He was looking up quite a lot of Naruhodo fanfiction. Quite the naughty boy, you see. We see the victim is engaged in penning some text. And so he grabbed onto Naruhodo's collar, embracing him for a tender kiss. Oh no, but what will the others think of us? Naruhodo said quite stupidly. Don't be silly, Ryunosuke, Kazuma said with a flicker in his eye. It's only between us. Besides, we have the whole cabin to ourselves. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. I cannot believe that I did not add a dubcon tag to this. And something you ought to elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Kimochi is quite the word I know. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know about what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? You've done this more often. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. You only do the takedowns on me? That's rude. Anyways, to return to the matter at hand, namely the diary belonging to the victim. It would appear that you're the subject of quite a lot of dubcon. The final sentence is incomplete as the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado nado, I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was that showing off about before? If you would be so kind as to show me, I'd be very happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. They're all speaking English. That's the weird like intersection of like Japanese and English, where it's like you're reading a translated like text that says like you're reading this in Japanese, but you should speak in English, but like everybody is speaking in English because it's translated in English. It's the Evangelion issue where like everyone's like, I guess Asuka knows German, but like she also doesn't know much. She also knows English, but also knows Japanese, but like you only know she knows English because it's dubbed in English. It's all very screwy. The final entry here in Kazuma-san's diary consists of just 2 sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? It was, what's her name from Kill Bill? These are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary is entered into the court record. Kazuma's dis. Have you managed to deduce anything about this case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in the most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among the number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ugh. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? 2 facts, you say? What are the 2 facts? Mr. Sholmes, tell us. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts I deduced were a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape from the culprit out of the question. Number 2. The victim was Russian, and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What makes you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. On and on and on, everybody's Russian. We go on to the bus stop. Gonna catch my bus. I see my friends. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. You see this upside down writing that says Leon in it? Well, if you flip it backwards, it's the clue to how you solve the first case of Danganronpa. Do you really think Kazuma-san could have left spoilers from a game hundreds of years in advance? In their final moments, many of their native tongue filled their head. But this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian? Was he? Oh man, double agent. You're like, Ryunosuke, I need you to be able to do this for me because I won't be able to see you for longer. I'm a Russian double agent in like the turn of the 20th century. Initially, I considered Godderobe to be the name of the killer. A certain Robert God, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong to not look inside the wardrobe there at least. Only Russian to get into my pants. Like, Kazuma's fluent in Russian to get into my pants. That's what that whole first trial was about. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping. What so? I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is a traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. Katsusato. Why are you so tense? I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was found. Yes, Kazuma had already taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah yes, the train of reasoning led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times... I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Let's see, your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before? Things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and the assassin of the 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The headline reads, "The revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call to Shanghai yesterday, and last night a young Russian was murdered." Since when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he's Russian because of what Kazuma wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning that realized that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims and blowing up the crystal tower? Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deed the man has perpetrated thus far and those he's plotting against. Yes, everything about this revolutionary was included. There can't be a mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also clearly stated in the article, Bolshevik was recently returned after a period of subversive activities in the war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. He's been sniffing too much. Yeah, this is the Sherlock Holmes who was doing a bit of that cocaine. Yeah, he was dipping into a little bit of that before all this. Thank you. I've absorbed all that's interested in me within the pages. I cracked it open, cut it open with a razor, put it alongside the pages, and gave it a big huff. But I see no rubbish bin nearby to dispose of the evidence. The article about the revolutionary has been edited in the court record. And you may find the article on the back page as well, along with some of the wonderful phone numbers to some wonderful ladies. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to glance at the article. Maybe there's a picture or two. Great detective, my ass! So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what's your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see her. German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. The pinup article. The pinups are hard to miss. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in this series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you read so many of your own stories, you're starting to think you really are the detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer? Do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? Yes, he's played by Frodo the Hobbit. I do a lot of making out with him, but I must say, thanks to the publication, it's been fantastically busy as of late. Why, at this very moment, I've been returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take him seriously or not. Deduction, you see, to me is a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. Science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in this subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Everything Robert Downey Jr. was able to find in that one fight at the beginning of the movie. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all of these things are data. Right. And the trained logician takes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look at me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have turned both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes sense. And only Herlock Sholmes. So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in this diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that'd be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these? After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was a culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as a culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Oh, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said that you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, what was that then? That was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you standing there for? We must go and investigate as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Yeah. After Kazuma spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on investigating what we can. And then slip in. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there's still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do anything I can to find a way out of this. Bring the real culprit to justice. Yeah, I feel like they made her really rough. Like, she's just kind of like someone who really wants to hurt me, but also keeps on giving me the rope around on whether she actually trusts me or not. It's not the best. Let's see, let's examine. Oh shit, there we go. Alright, so we check this. What about this lamp? Investigate thoroughly, can't find anything out of place. Sword. What's this? The bone and the meat? That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Oh man, I had some roast chicken earlier. That was pretty nice. Yes, it was really delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. There were other things I was eating from a bowl earlier, but that's not actually, like, this chicken. So you see, I finish eating the chicken, then he throws the bones, and then I fetch it to him. That's part of the pet play here. Which begs to question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-san didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which means all the more for me. Can't get enough of that cock. Oh no! Does that mean? Poor Kazuma-san spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly. Yeah, he wasn't very he's not the selfish type. He was busy feeding me. I still have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Let's see. There's nothing on this table. The plate and the cutlery all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it is strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny, I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So, perhaps you are responsible for what happened. No. I thought we settled this already. Okay. I see a knife, maybe the sword. And that's Kazuma-san's precious sword. He's never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had worked really hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that just shows how important it was to him. And now that he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Alright, this wall scroll. Seiki, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true. Just like Kazuma, arguably. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoroughly? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship. Now you're gonna bring that up? I can't win. Ooh, what's this painting? That's been investigated, that's been fine, that leads to nothing. What's in this chest? It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside of this case. Ah, yes. I see it says "this way" up in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't have been able to read. I was turned over and over and over. And then I was tossed on the floor here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. It is in the evenings, but once the morning rolls around, I'm inside of that cabinet again. Less painful than the Susato takedown. Let's see, the blood's investigated, fine. This is already investigated, this is fine, this is good. The stuff on the floor is fine. And then I'm just making my last kind of turnarounds before I turn over to the other side. Ace. Come on. Come on, we can go. This is where Cosmo would have sat with his writing. London Diary. Which means... I think I already looked at that. Come on. Oh no. It says look around, but I need to be able to calibrate this a little more. Come on. Come on. What is up with this remote? The symbol of Yume University. It's funny, but most emblems see around a rectangle. I like this spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although it does cause problems, a lot of students end up cutting their fingers on the badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders. Sharp pin, sharp minds. Just like in Soul Eater, you know? It's within a sound mind and a sound body, I suppose. No, that's fine, that's fine. I feel like it's not reading like the... No, I think it's like not reading my controller. Oh shit. Like it like stopped calibrating for a moment. Key adjustments. Oh. I guess I'll just use the keys B and M. Let's see, maybe the bed. Investigated thoroughly. You cannot look under for any evidence. And this is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which is to pull and ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That's almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just everyone's busy. That's all. Us being racially profiled for, like, being a part of all this. Let's see, we got... What was the other key? It was HNBM. Oh, so it's just like up, down, left, right. I see. So there's no up and there's no down. Let's see. I know you were saying the floor, maybe the chair. So yeah, the bed is all intact. This is all there. That's all there. This is all in matter. That's all settled. Maybe I talk to him. Excuse me. Wah. Wah. I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it is not true, I see. Sorry? A criminal asking prison guard to help him escape. Very funny. We're in the middle of sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Yet. You stay in capital next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police whether they want to do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal this man's better nature, that's for sure. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, not sturdy at all. But still, with the door bolted, there'd be no way to get in and out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all of a sudden, up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and a thread to draw a bolt from across the room in a situation like this. Yes, it's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door to the cabin and its frame are made of metal and they seal together perfectly. There'd be no possible way of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles up down my spine. Oh, look over there. Crewman, do you mean he wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. I could try. Alright. You talk. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that the crewman's standing there by the door. I can't help but feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? Oh shit, it's him! I recognize that face, but it can't be. Osanaga. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out in this hopeless situation. We gonna talk. Can we talk? So what are your special orders this time? And why are you dressed like a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Chigoku who pushed for his overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with assuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should all be prepared for eventualities. This is incredible. Oh, I don't believe it. Kazuma-san was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night, every day. You two were quite the love bugs. But I never imagined it would happen here inside of his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector? So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Cosmo's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin board, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I've dealt with more than enough seamen within the last couple weeks. I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do anything to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence by presenting me with a piece of evidence you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as you when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel with your controller and choose something with the video game that you can use. So evidence that I've gathered as I've been playing this video game. Alright, yes. I think I know what I can use. Let me see if I can open up this video game menu. Let's see. This the door to the wardrobe, the diary in London. It was this one because there's a draft. Yes. Present? Oh. Oh, it's this button. Let's see. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, he wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band. That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute. That ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate there, maybe we'll be able to work out what the speckled band is. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Are you gonna go against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move with your video game controller and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see if I can use my legs. Alright, we gonna move. Go from the cabin to the first class passage. Ace. The SS Bureau. First class captain. Passageway. I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I expected. It's less spacious out here than I thought it'd be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-san was sent in this study tour by the government. That's why he was put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about as twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous. Even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for a first time. I wouldn't have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We'd been at sea for 2 weeks. Oh yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a little trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Alright, we going in. I guess maybe examine a bit. Let's look at some of these like brochures. I'm curious. That's a huge book on top of the table, and there's a pen next to it. It looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Oh, the writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage is meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful writing. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the comment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. It's especially a compliment to a sailor if he's rough and ready. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably means there was nothing to report. That's the map. The plan shows every deck. Buri is large-scale steamship. The triple skilled. Oh, it's been playing on my mind actually, but how is it such a lump of metal doesn't just sink at the bottom? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been afloat happily at sea since God made them. Since the gods made them. Wait, there's soil underneath. There's earth underneath it. Well, I suppose so. Every night in my dreams. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm? It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets the alarm off all over the ship. It brings the vessel to a complete stop. Man, if only they had one of these on the SS Titanic. You mustn't touch it. This is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for, smart ass. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, this ship included. You have to do something foolish, at least make it funny. I was wondering what was this on the floor. It looks like a mouse trap. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Oh damn, I'm smart. Big brains. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really, but... I suppose you're right. We could sneak a little. We're actually going to try it, were you? Cheese is delicious. I would have risked it. All I've had to eat for the last couple of days is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. You know what it's like to eat ass for an entire week? Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. I guess I have to enter in through the menu. This is it, the cabin next to ours. The one ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator for which Cosmo-san wrote that he saw the speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in there should help out. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside the cabin. Sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying keep out. That's what he wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version's definitely more effective. It's certified hippo, yeah. About to eat mousetrap cheese and like just waltz in. Doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass. And that's a problem. I see. We have to get him enclosed in the mousetrap. Maybe you have to ask him. Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I ask you something? You little third-class ladies' maid. Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. Classist, egregious, and racist. I'm not a sailor, that's my mom's name. I am a senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff, that's offensive. It's delicious, but offensive. Let's see if you're as delicious as your namesake. Then maybe can you let me in? Yeah, it's one of those Phoenix Wright things where we're just gonna name people after like little hints and stuff, but instead of just naming somebody like I'm guilty, they ended up naming this dude Beef Stroganoff. First class cabin. Mr. Stroganoff, about the first class cabin area. Here we are in the finest of part of Burya steamship. Those very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens, traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. A little hot too. But somehow I let the very stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick up and throw you into the ocean. But stroganoff is not animal. It is a tasty pasta dish with some meat. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Ah! Sasada-san, did you understand that? It sounded like, duh. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it is tantalizing. Let's see. Last night. Are you on the watch here all the time, Mr. Seaman Stroganoff? Gross. That's like if you piss off the chef, he gives you Seaman Stroganoff. Duh, all the time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night? Of course. And you did not notice anything at the time. Anything unusual? Here. Susada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything wrong in the way that I can read on your face? I said no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. Could have sworn that he wouldn't have caught my eye for a moment there. Yeah, he's very suspicious. Mr. Beef. Mr. Shia LaBeef. Could you tell us who was traveling at the cabin next door to Mr. Asogi's? His name was Dr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of Student Boy. How can you be so sure? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Island. That was harsh and also very offensive. Could you tell us where Mr. Roylott came from? That is not your business. Come to think about it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time. I've never once heard anything about a next door cabin. Or ever felt like there was anybody there. Well, presumably since the gentleman's occupying one of the first class cabins. He must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. That is enough. I cannot say no more. Oh, it is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly, or when hell freezes over, or when the Cubs win the pennant. Yes, I understand. But the Cubs already won the pennant. Good. Now we can investigate the area properly, shall we? Definitely. Yeah, while that asshole is away, we get to sneak on board. Oh no, we have to go back into the cabin. Shit. I guess I'll talk to him. I don't know. Maybe I'll go outside. Oh. Now that he's here, that's the way of the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it just a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Go back outside and examine the door, yeah. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started to talk about running away. There's no way I could run while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyways. Yeah, I think you're right. You gotta open up that bad boy. Oh shit, no, examine the door. Yeah, beef stroganoff is gone, so we gotta just swoosh our way right in. Yes, the ventilator in which Kazuma said there was a man emerging. Maybe someone in the cabin will help. Let's ask. Housekeeping. It's the FBI, open up! We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one on to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream, it must have been a woman. Stand aside! I'm about to break the door open. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Meanwhile, in cabin number 2. Oh fuck, it's murder guy.
Oh, who are you?
A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's no one but me in this cabin.
True, this old man doesn't appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out, all of you, now.
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe.
Yes, that's me. And you are?
I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. You heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I am the great detective amongst great detectives, the one who adores the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you can trust me completely. A man that uses a magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives.
We distinctly heard a scream and a man emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe. So I might be bold as to ask you to open up that small traveling case.
What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. The case just shook.
Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. What kind of pun is that? There's no doubt about it, the strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly sailor arrives. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something.
No,
Oh,
I do not want to talk. Leave the cabin now.
This is going terribly. We're not getting anything here. There may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get us somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Sir? You have a moment? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call the greatest power of detection into service. And it would seem the hour is upon us. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually. You're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in his cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And you know what would be the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusive for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh yes, please.
Well then, what you are about to see may as well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatest admired great deduction to this case. Could this man be any more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and glasses are hard to ignore, especially on the first meeting. But once I heard it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence, it biases the judgment. That's to say not to profile people, you dingbat. Shh! I must have complete silence.
What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you were about to end the existence of someone most dear. Are you not?
Ha!
And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment, nonetheless in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Ah!
Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read countless times the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. And this is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks as if somehow both of his conclusions were right.
How? How could you?
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well. Shall I elucidate? I shall explain how I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you to a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Oh, the great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches my eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away your copious beard, you sport. Now, moving on. The question, then, begged is this. Why would you desire to get rid of such a magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer's plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, this fascinating front-page article, which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And in the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah! And I assure you, the eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies in the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before your very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, you ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit her in.
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we're not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equated to what can be found in the newspaper. But there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima donna ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing about, was it? The stories are full of his brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions, would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's a newspaper article. I think that we have the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I read our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary. Well, be able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look like the man, you know. It's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting a ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young lady. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old in that case. Even if you pushed really hard. Even if you just, like, slammed their head really far. I don't suppose the missing ballerina's a 5-year-old, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. Oh, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her poking out would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it'd surely be simplicity itself to contort ones into a confine of such small cases. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is right. I know I'm thinking of heading out soon, because it's starting to get around, like, a little bit late, but let me see how far this scene goes. Well, magical, his eyes are cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. This worry directs his attention and his logic seem a little off. Our idea is maybe a little off itself, Mrs. Osato. Just one or two keywords in his deduction that seem to let you down. I'm wondering if I might switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure that we could do that if we unlock the true genius of his great deduction. Precisely the thought I was going after with my own mind. This man has a lot of work. At times I wonder if anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. Your wrists? Ah, where are your handcuffs? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you're truly a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we're finished. I'm not worried, in fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Old man's identity. Revolutionary on the run. Some dubious-looking roylott, obviously. What catches your eye in the first place? Is the enormous pair of shears in your hands? On the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about, but it doesn't sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott, either. Which means, I suppose, the deduction's wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here and see if that matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at it. Wonder if it's really the intent. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of his deduction better, I'll leave the rest in your capable hands. Why am I the one to do something about this? Anyway, let's see if we could even use a switch around in this last sentence. What's he gonna use that for? It was thick hat. Oh jeez. It's golden locks. What on earth? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning flowing locks. No, the color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of his head? And how's it growing from underneath his black hat? This is true, so it's stunningly beautiful and surprisingly surprising. Something's not right here.
Yes!
You were on the verge of using your shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you should have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. It looks so awesome. I love how cinematic it all is. Such lush golden hair does not befit an old man. You're not a man after all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one that still very much is within your youth.
Oh no.
That's the ballerina.
If only I managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected.
The question then begged is this: why do you desire to get rid of such magnificent locks? Once again, the answer's plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. It needs no further proof of clarification. The evidence that reveals your identity is the article. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was a young woman in disguise. What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in the element as you dance around the floor deducting the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything, Baka. This is strictly business. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of the deduction, shall we? The evidence he's picked out doesn't fit. No, that's true, given Roylott's actually a woman. Exactly, they can't possibly be a mercenary. The deduction has been taken to a different direction. Let's switch the evidence to something else. For some reason, this woman needs to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like this recently. I don't know, might be in the back of a magazine. Holy macaroni, that looks like her. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. Can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, now can I? But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful Russian princess. You think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you noticed the article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears during the performance. Reported missing, she of course is the talented young Nikolina Pavlovia. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? A woman in the costume when she found missing in her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth 1,000 ruble. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? No idea. I'm quite sure it's an unbelievable sum of money. Her eyes shine bright like a diamond. The tiara is property of the Novovich Ballet. It seems the director is beside her with no worries. No surprise. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlovia and the actual tiara. They requested international assistance of all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing their country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Article about a ballerina. Okay, so I gotta do this. I gotta present. Oh.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we're finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
Ah!
You're right. My name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg of you, don't tell anyone. A ballerina on the run. Conclusion, being a ballerina. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, my eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies within the furtive glance force. The proof of your crime sits before the very eyes, yes, a traveling case. This woman's a ballerina and she's right in front of our eyes, so clearly she can't be inside the traveling case. No, she wasn't abducted at all. Which in case, what crime is this young woman committing? I'm gonna have to see if gonna have to step in and fix the mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it! I don't like dancing with him. Only cause. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman's up to. Oh, ooh, tiara. Tiara! Wow, look at this glazing tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds? Or Naruhodo-san, try it on. What, me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. It'd look far better on you. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it in the fucking newspaper.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe the tiara was worn on stage by the dancers of the Novovich ballet, isn't it? Indeed. It would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in the newspaper article. I'm only loyal cause. If the reporting is to believe, if an item is worth 20,000 rubles, in summary, the crime you have committed is theft. No. Yes, you left the ballet troupe unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you.
Ah!
I have no one. No family. No friends. I'm all alone. I need the money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away by herself. She must have been very lonely. Alright, I'll tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my intention. Indeed, I have a very good eye for the contents of your case, even before I laid eyes on them. Dear me, we're not suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless cute boy, Doyle, betrays you. Once again, we need only follow furtive plans. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open the briefcase is the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think he's adapting his logic to the changing circumstances. Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into this? Just a wild guess, surely. You think so? But it doesn't seem like that's the reason why she wouldn't want to open the case. Would have been written in a book that doesn't belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. She certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. And there's another reason why she won't open it. Somewhere in that same area. Whatever she's hidden inside that case, it should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction. Maybe the trophy. Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we found in our cabin. And have you noticed how all of them have fallen over just like Kazuma-san? It's almost like someone's been taking a sweep of them. Maybe Miss Pavlova while practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. Couldn't if we wanted to, they're all in Russian. Let's try our luck elsewhere. The sign, rules of passage. These are the rules of passage for the travel aboard. Must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects. Pets. Oh, it's a pet. It's exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe. Your punishment must be severe. You probably would be left to drift in the freezing ocean. You do not fear the freezing ocean, you welcome it. Your punishment must be more severe. There must be a cat in your luggage. Let's see.
Yes!
Yes! The reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden on the carriage of this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Yeah, either like a cat or a dog. I'm kind of thinking a dog, because it almost seems like, what's it called? Like a blonde with a toy dog. That seems pretty obvious, but it might be completely different. But no weapon or other dangerous items would move on its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed in the forbidden of the vessel's rules of passage, a pet. Ah! Possession of a prohibited animal. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. Alright, we're gonna find out what the animal is, and then I'm going to probably log off for the night. Clearly, you aren't who you said you are. No, I'm not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of the ballet's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Bury is a very steamship. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman who intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave it alone. So if it's just you, about to cut your own hair off, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? The variable ticking of the bell. Why, none other than this lady, naturally. Like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away from Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That is why I decided to, how do you say it, disguise myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man I see. I put on a fur hat and a fake beard. Then just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page there is a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up my scissors by my hand and... At the precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say it to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, wasn't it something Mr. Shom's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not sure what. At least Miss Pavlova's agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes, what? Observe your wrist. My... Ah, your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I restored your shackles. Man, why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast on you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can it really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. On another night. I cannot go on without knowing. I have to find out what this speckled band that wrote about in the diary really was. Alright, we're gonna leave. Oh, shit. Alright, let's save. We are going to, these parts. And then we are going to save and quit. Alright. We're going to go back to the title. That's gonna be fun, going back to the title. Let's see. Let's use the save below it. Ace. Alright. Everything is intact, everything is ready to go, and I am ready to go as well. Alright, thank you so much for coming along. I'm so glad. I feel like it's just been a real relief that today was really good. I think the other night, or the other day when I did Stardew, it was a bit rough, so I think that it was wonderful to really be able to kind of like get back into my own. Or at least I feel like I've been doing a lot better now. Or at least I feel like I'm a lot more energized. But I hope to be able to go out, meet you all this next Sunday morning with a little more pep and enthusiasm as well. I'm not sure what I'll be playing. I'm not sure. Part of me really wants to do maybe Persona again. I know that's like in the middle of May or June, like late May, early June, like in the month of the game. I was thinking that. I was also thinking Cult of the Lamb. I know I was trying to do something that was a little less like kind of managey or micromanagey, but I know that's been a lot of fun. I also wanted to do Guilty Gear at some point, but I feel like recently it hasn't been working as well on my laptop. I can do X2. Part of me was tempted to do X2 Accent Core because I got like to maybe around like 600 in survival with Bikin. I wanted to see if I could do the same with Testament because I think I got to around maybe like 580. I'm usually big on the survival modes because it's nice and I get to compete against myself instead of others, but online is actually really fun in Accent Core. I have a better time with it than Strive just because it's something where I feel like you're kind of at like almost equal level with everybody. But it was a very nice time being able to see all of you and to be able to stream all of this. So before I go, I'm going to poke on my beauty mark. I'm going to poke the mic, and I have bestowed upon you a very nice, energetic, relaxed feeling that you can bring to your next stream that you watch. There is a lot of people on. Holy shit. There's actually almost everybody I follow. So there is a wealth of people you can jump onto. So without further ado, I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye now.